Neil Shah is founder of the Stress Management Society. Neil, hello.
Hi Ian, how are you?
Not too bad. I'm not feeling at all stressed at the moment, but I might by the end of this interview. Who knows?
I'll do my best not to stress
Well,
you.
now, why did you start the Stress Management Society?
It was actually as a result of first-hand experience. I started my first business when I was 24, turned it into a multi-million-pound recruitment enterprise, and dot-com bubble burst. The markets changed after September 11, 2001, and essentially the business went into voluntary liquidation. I suffered a lot of stress myself. I found that actually wasn't much out there to support people. When I went to my GP, he very quickly offered me antidepressants. I knew enough to know that wasn't the answer. Counselling sort of 10, 11 years ago was something that was hard to get access to, and even at that, at best, some of the counselling wasn't really CBT counselling, which obviously has been proven to be quite beneficial. So I found there really wasn't much out there to support people, and after taking some time out, I spent some time in the Himalayas attempting to climb Mount Everest, and William Blake said, when men and mountains meet, strange things happen that don't happen when you're jostling in the street, and I decided I was going to do something to help people that experience workplace stress and set up the Stress Management Society, and it's great that 11 years later we're often quoted as being the UK's leading authority on the subject.
Well, that's why we've got you on. But what do you actually do?
So the first part is recognition. Now, ultimately people come to us and they're stressed. You quoted some statistics there, like that 70%, and there was a recent study suggesting 90% of employees in the UK are experiencing workplace stress, and different studies are showing quite scary statistics. We've had statistics around the number of heart attacks people having at work going up, the amount of increase in workplace suicides. This is a very serious and significant issue. But often people go looking for help when it's already too late. We're talking about measures like absenteeism, but sorry, my mind went blank. I experienced a moment of lethologica. The word I was thinking of was presenteeism. Now, before we even get to the point where people have been signed off with stress, that we know they're not having a good experience because they're still at work not having a good experience. If we're picking up early enough, we can take action to do something about it. And that's very much where we come in, that we've got diagnostic tools where we go in and do risk assessments, we do audits on organizations, engagement surveys, to help to understand the experience their employees are having. So we can actually predict, long before somebody has a heart attack, takes their own life, is signed off long-term with stress, what the challenges and stressors are, so we can then start putting interventions in place.
And stress can hit anyone, can't it? It's not just people in high-pressure jobs. I mean, for example, I imagine a lot of 18-year-olds will have felt very stressed last week in the days leading up to getting their A-level results. They will have been very stressed taking exams. And a lot of people who, for example, take A-level exams can't do them properly because they feel so stressed out. Have you got tools to help people in those kind of positions?
And, it doesn't matter what you're doing or what the stressors are, whether you are Anthony Horto-Osorio, head of one of the large banking institutions in the UK, whether you're Jonathan Trott on the Ashes tour, a professional cricket player, whether you are, an A-level student about to take your exams, everybody experiences stress, and it's not what's happening to you, but it's your ability to cope with that. And actually, regardless of what the cause of the stresses are, the approach that we would take with people is firstly recognizing when you're in a state that's not serving you and it's starting to impact your health and well-being, and understanding what you can do to start rectifying that state. Part of it is, can you remove some of the load or demand you're under? Like, for example, you're a famous cricket player on the Ashes tour. One of the ways to remove the demand is take you off the tour. If you're an A-level student and you've got the exams coming out, you can't remove that pressure. It's there. So what you can do is start thinking about, what can I do to increase my resilience? How can I equip myself to better cope with the stress I'm under? Because it's not something that can be removed. Until the exam results are out and I've received them, there is no way for me to predict what's going to happen next. So all I have the power to do is change how I react and respond to it. Whether I pass or fail, you may not be able to change the end result, but you can change how you react and respond to it.
Why do some people keep it in and others let it out? They will actually show people that they're stressed.
And this, again, I guess it comes down to sort of, is it nature or is it nurture? That there is a belief that some people are naturally better equipped to stress. I don't necessarily subscribe to that view. That I think that any of us can learn to better equip ourselves to deal with stress and increase our resilience. And some people, as I said, maybe brought up in environments or in family settings where people are more expressive and they are used to sort of expressing when they're in a good place or not so much of a good place. Some people are just naturally more comfortable with that. Some people do tend to bottle it up. Now, that's not necessarily a good thing. You have to bear in mind a man's twice as likely to have a heart attack as a woman, because they say women are better at expressing their emotions. Unless you're on the stands of a football stadium, men don't tend to generally be so comfortable expressing their emotions. So this is where I think it is really important that we have outlets and we have opportunities to get the help and support we need. Now, we also know that, due to the challenges and the pressures on the NHS, getting access to counselling, it can be, depending on where you live, it's a postcode lottery, it could be a couple of months before you can see a professional counsellor. Whereas a lot of organisations, some of the organisations you mentioned, the public sector in the east of England, most of them will have access to professional support 24/7 through things like employee assistance programmes or occupational health services. But we find that even though they are readily available, they are massively underutilised. Because even if the support is there is a stigma attached to reaching out for help. We live in a society, particularly in Britain, where we've got that pull your socks up and get on with it, the soldier-on attitude. And I think that, is a little bit of a hangover possibly from the Second World War, where we had to soldier on, whereas the world's a different place today, and we do need to get the support we need when we're under pressure. Because failing to do so will just lead to us bowing and bucking.
Well, it's not very British, is it, to sort of not just show emotions, but to admit that you are in a stressful situation. We have that sort of stiff upper lip. The show must go on. We don't want to let people know exactly how we feel. Neil, thank you very much. Neil Shah is founder of the Stress Management Society. So what